he's kind of had some interesting things happen along the way.
Yep.
Did you see the deposition
I did.
audio, a video actually?
Yeah, that was incredible.
Was it?
I mean, incredible performance art at the very least.
Well, he called the opposing lawyer a culture vulture.
I know, and I was thinking, I'm like, I wonder if that's ever happened in a deposition before.
Right. Is he a vulture in the lawyer culture?
Right.
Like, what is he vulturing? Is he like...
You know, he explained it to me last night, but I feel like I would not do a good job reiterating what exactly he was referring to. He had like a movie stolen from him, which is like the whole thing that he's upset about, and I feel like people don't even realize what that situation was about, based on what he said last night, at least.
Okay.
It's a lot.
The thing with Dame is that he's an interesting figure, and you want to work with him, and you want to do projects with him, until you actually start doing projects with him. And then you realize he's like his own worst enemy. Because all this stuff that's happening with him, I feel like shouldn't be happening with him. He could have been doing a lot more business with a lot more people, because people want to work with him.
Right.
I wanted to work with him. But then once you start working with him, you're like, I'm not going to just sit here and just put up with this nonsense.
Right.
So you end up just not working with him. And he ends up losing out on money as well as we do. And it's a no-win situation. And I feel like Dame just shoots himself in the foot.
Yeah, well, like if you really look at his situation, I mean, he's making his content, he has his own little world, but he claims that he like refuses to work with anybody in a larger system with labels or bigger companies or whatever. But in reality, like anyone who's kind of dealt with him knows that he just doesn't seem like he would be able to work with other people in that kind of way at all. Like,
does not play well with others. You know, the kid in the school that you come home and he's off in the other room away from the other kids because he hit someone with like a lunchbox or something because they wanted to share like his cookies and it all went bad. That's Dame.
I mean, Dame told me he had more money than his teachers or his principal at 15 off of selling drugs. So
Possibly.
I feel like he might have been socialized from a very early age to not have to ever listen to anybody. And maybe he just had that personality in the first place, but yeah, he just doesn't seem like he really like has ever had to deal with anybody, which I feel like kind of dictates a lot of people's personalities. Like if you have to go work in an office for 10 years, I feel like you learn a lot about how to just like maintain and deal with people, and I never really had that. Like always just basically was running my own thing, so figuring out how to be a manager, how to actually deal with people has kind of always been a challenge.
Well, I think that when you have Jay-Z on your team, you could tell everyone to go fuck themselves, and they will continue to work with you because you're the key to Jay-Z, who even back then people knew that he was going to be one of the greats. He was going multi-platinum. Rockefeller was built around him, everything else like that. And once you no longer have Jay-Z, then that's when you see the chinks in the armor and everything else like that. Everyone's like, well, why should I continue doing this when you don't have Jay-Z anymore? Because you don't. Jay-Z doesn't seem to associate with him. I've never even seen a picture of them together in the last like 10 years.
No, they broke up like 2001 or some shit, and you ain't seen them together since.
Right. I think Jay probably just got tired of it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, come on. Like putting out Dame's fires over and over again was like, okay, well, what am I doing here?
I mean, Jay stopped fucking with Dame around the same time that Jay sort of transitioned from being more of like a straight gangster rapper to all of a sudden he started dressing nicer. He kind of started putting out different content, presenting himself as somebody who was a bit more lofty and, you know, concerned with bigger things and stuff. And like part of that whole transition was kind of like, oh, these dudes that I came up with, nah, I ain't really fucking with them anymore like that.